Here I am back again with another podcast from The Reframe. Today's going to be a little bit different. This is the first time that I've filmed back in my home in 2023. So I'm very excited to be here. And I thought, what an amazing opportunity to share kind of a glance back at 2022 and the journey that I was on as the person doing these podcasts. And this is what I want to share. When I first started out and I first went out to Chicago and we talked with our team about me doing a podcast, and they said, Susan, you have so much to share. You're a great storyteller. You have a lot of wisdom. And I was in. I believed them. I felt it. I knew in my gut that it was true and that I had a lot to offer. So the first maybe one or two podcasts, I felt fabulous. And then as I would put them out or they would put them out for me, I would say to people, my podcast's coming out. I really want you to listen. And by the time we got to the third one, I thought, do people really want to hear what I have to say? I found myself, and I know this will be really not believable to a lot of my viewers, but also to a lot of people that know me well, kind of shrinking into myself and getting very uncomfortable telling people, sending texts, asking people to watch my next podcast, because I really thought, who really cares about what I have to say? Do I have that much to offer? Is my wisdom? Am I too repetitive? And guess what? I have answers to all of those questions today. So first and foremost, through my journey, I discovered from experts that a lot of people don't get past 10 podcasts. So I thought, okay, Susan, just suck it up and do 10 podcasts, and then you can make a decision afterwards, which actually reminds me in this moment about my son, Paul West. Paul, who got his real estate license, and I remember before he passed his test, he got apprehensive about taking the test. And I said, Paul, and he said, I want to be a realtor. And I said, guess what? You can make the decision after you pass your test. Come from a positive place in your life with a positive result from your test, and then decide. And guess what? 5 years later, very successful realtor, very successful developer. So I think my first lesson here is, if you're going to make a decision from a positive place. So I decided I was going to power through 10 podcasts not only being filmed, recorded, but 10 podcasts being delivered before I made a decision. And I felt myself getting confident again. And I also felt the power behind people saying things to me about my podcast unsolicited. So my second piece of advice today would be, if there's someone in your life that's doing something that's out of their comfort zone and you like and enjoy and you're witnessing something positive, please share it with them, because that one word, that one sentence from a person can make a big difference. But let's talk a minute about the podcasts that I did, the names of the podcasts. The first one was Lessons Learned from Being Broke. And I think the most exciting thing for me about that podcast being aired was the fact that people would come up to me and say, I can relate to all 5 of your B words. And by the way, none of them were a bad word. So if you want to hear about broke, broken, burdens, my 5 words that those of you that know me know this, that just really came organically to me as I was speaking, it's a great opportunity. But that was the best moment for me, when somebody said the 5 words I could relate. And then they said, wow, you're so much more relatable when you talk about being broke and broken. And I just want to take a moment to talk about being broken and say this. Been there a couple times in my life, right? And I want to give everyone the freedom and the other understanding that it's okay to go through seasons where you make decisions that lend you or lead you to a brokenness or a financially brokenness. But when it's not okay is when you have habits in your life that continually get you to the same spot, and you don't change those habits, you don't face your own demons, and you expect other people to bail you out. And I know you all remember me saying, those of you that watched, it's really important to know, if you wind up broke and broken and you're seeking help, you have an obligation to tell the whole truth to the people that you're seeking help from. So Broken was amazing for me to deliver that information, to reconnect with who I've been throughout my life that left me broken. And I'm going to share a story with you. As I sat down today, well, not today, as I sat down this year and I wrote who Susan's going to be in 2023, the first thing I wrote down is that there's no more room for brokenness in my life that comes from me feeling inadequate. No more brokenness for me from my perception of areas that I'm inadequate. So me delivering this to you today, there's a journey with whatever we go through. You've heard my journey from my podcast. Share your journey with others. But again, if you're in the same journey year after year after year, it's really time to look in the mirror. And that's what I wanted you also to hear from my brokenness. From there, I went on and I talked about being a mom is an asset in business, right? And that was also an opportunity for me to share part of my career journey when I really just decided that I'm not going to apologize in the corporate world about the fact that I'm a mom, a fact that I'm driven by love, a fact that I manage very similarly to how I parent. So I use love and I use parenting skills. And I also talked really candidly about why would I be on this journey as a mother of 4 children and now 4 grandchildren? Why would I be on this journey and not use what I have learned on that journey in my everyday life? So it's an opportunity for me to walk one path, be the same person wherever I am. And you all remember me saying no apologies. And I really believe that I have empowered other women and men, so fathers and mothers, to really realize that love and family and parenting can be an asset in the business world. And it has been for me, and it will continue to be for me until I retire and then beyond as well. My next one was raising your sons to be good husbands. I spoke a ton about my job as a mother to raise my sons to be good husbands, to teach them. Women, honestly, we are difficult, we are emotional, I've had more than one person in my life say, like, if I do it this way, it doesn't work. If I do it this way, it doesn't work. There's no winning, because we are creatures that have expectations and emotions combined together. And oftentimes we don't articulate what we want because we can also tend to be martyrs. So who better to teach my sons, my 3 sons, on how to be amazing husbands, how to understand women, how to be who they're supposed to be than their mom. I also had to reconcile, and I talked about this in this podcast as well, how I felt about my marriages. I hate saying out loud that I've been married twice, right? What a fail for me. But what an opportunity to talk to my sons, and now my one son's married, my daughter's married, to talk to them about their role in marriage and who they need to be. So raising my sons to be good husbands and taking ownership for that has been a joy in my life. I also want to put this out there. I said this to a friend of mine the other day. Why do people, and again, wisdom comes with age, right? And that's a lot about what I have spoken about in some of my podcasts as well. Wisdom comes with age, and the idea, listen to this. If you're in a relationship and it is not working and that person is not a priority to you, how they feel is not a priority to you, again, I'm not saying get divorced. That's not what I'm talking about, but work on it and find a way to make them a priority. And if you're in a relationship and you're not married and they're not a priority, exit left, right? And get into a relationship where you want to be with the person and you want to make them a priority. Next, inspecting what you expect. So we really, again, remember, I'm a mom, I'm a parent, I'm a businesswoman, proud of all of those things. And what I was able to do with Inspect What You Expect is say, not only at home as a parent, but also in the workplace. So we were able to utilize both sides of me to say, if you expect something and you teach something and you don't inspect it, and your employee or your child don't do what you expect and you didn't inspect, look in the mirror, you're the problem. So it was a great opportunity to share that and just give a couple extra angles to look at why there are failures in the workplace. And oftentimes it starts up at the top and works its way down. From there, everything is fixable with Ashley Scipione. Ashley and I have worked together for years. This was a great opportunity for us to, in the moment, just see how well we gel together and to, I believe, display to the industry, to anybody watching our podcast, right? Seeing us on YouTube or hearing us on Spotify, to see these ladies, very different, but work together so well. And that's why our fidelity operations are so successful, because together, everything is fixable. We also talked a lot about together. We have 20/20 vision. She has one view. I have another view. That was just an amazing opportunity. And I looked back and watched that and I thought, wow, we have built something amazing over these years, which makes our business sustainable, which makes our friendship sustainable, and makes our relationship as business partners running an operation more than sustainable. So watch out in 2023 as you see more from Ashley and me. From there, a character conversation. I walked into the gym one day, one of the ladies, Tony, actually Tony is teaching yoga. We're doing aerial yoga together, which is amazing. And Tony said to me, I watched your podcast on character. Boy, have you lived a life. And I really have to thank Lauren for that from the studio, because she really pushed me on that one to share some personal moments. I talked about the fact that I was in a drug rehab when I was 15, spoke about my journey from before then and after then. And I think it was an opportunity to really share about character. I was able to talk about things like the fluidity of character, which I think a lot of people don't understand what I mean by that. So many people stand so hard, so firm in their convictions. And I think sometimes out of insecurity, sometimes out of stubbornness, sometimes because they don't want to be challenged, sometimes because honestly, they just like to fight and argue with people. And I would suggest that there are some basic principles to character that we can never waver from. Honesty, theft, okay? There are some really basic principles. But I talked about the fact that as we go through the journey of life, we have to be prepared that maybe the stance we had at 20, before we were married, before we were in a relationship, that we said when we are married, having kids, etc., maybe that stance, although powerful to create a stance, it might have to change when you're actually married and having children. Maybe the principles that you thought you'd live by, you don't live by, and there has to be an opportunity. This is what I said, that life is not black and white. Sometimes there's some gray dance room. And the line that we don't want to cross, there are firm lines, but sometimes it's a box and we have some dancing room in the middle. So be open-minded as you navigate through the journey of life to dance some in the middle. And by the way, living life also should always include dancing as well. From there, Healthy by Design, one of my favorites. I think all these were my favorites, but Healthy by Design is clearly something that I work hard to live by. And here, in this particular opportunity to speak to you all, I spoke a lot about the truths of our bodies changing for children, aging, menopause, but it's a reality. And the fact that your body does change, but the knowledge is power. And the fact that we know our bodies will change, that means we have to really work harder at eating better. We have to really work harder at exercising more. I right now in my life where I'm at, up at 5 o'clock every day, 6 days a week at the gym, in addition to tennis and yoga, I have to do more We oftentimes talk about when we were kids. I talked about this in the video. We rode our bike. We did this. We have to be as active as we get older as we were when we were younger. And that's where people go wrong. So yes, you get thicker around the middle. As you get older, that means you have to eat better. That means you have to exercise more. The fight is on. Somebody said to me just today, you look good. Why are you worried about it? I said, because I can't stay in this place. Because guess what? We never stay in the same place. We either go backward or forward. I'm going to continue to go forward. So healthy by design. Healthy is a choice. Healthy is something that is done better with the knowledge, the reality, and in the knowledge, in the reality, I'm kicking aging's butt every day. And that was really fun for me to do and talk about and now hold myself accountable, right? To make sure I continue with this lifestyle. The last one we did that didn't air until this year was Change Doesn't Happen at the Water Cooler. And I'm just going to tell you all this. If you haven't seen it yet, you will see it because I know this is going to spark more interest. Here's my wisdom that I'm going to share with you all. People that gossip in the workplace or outside of the workplace don't want change. They like to gossip. And in my operation, if people want change, they go to the right person to talk about the problem instead of talking amongst themselves. So check yourself. If you want change, don't talk about others with others. Go to the source of the problem to help change. And if you don't care about the person personally enough to go to them, then stop talking about them and just move on. Don't ever build your relationship with someone else on the back of gossiping about someone. And that's really what the water cooler talk was about. Next, I'm working on do you dare to tell the truth, right? Do we want to tell the truth? Do we want to hear the truth? Yes, yes, and yes. And although it's difficult to hear the truth, we need to be able to hear the truth from people, and we need to surround ourselves with people that will tell the truth. And I think that's really valuable information, and I can't wait to end this little session here I'm having with you all to start the podcast on that. Another thing that I'm going to tell you, clearly a theme through all of my podcasts, kept coming through over and over and over again. So where I was concerned about being too repetitive, all I was doing in each one of my podcasts when a maybe familiar word or a story would come back up to my mind and I would share it is, my character is consistent. I'm perfectly imperfect, as is my family, but my character, the things I have to say, the stories I have to share, the wisdom that I have gained, the things that you will hear in my podcast, there are similar themes, and I'll leave it to you as you watch and you listen to determine for yourselves what they are. I have found joy in delivering these messages. I have found courage in delivering these messages. I have found vulnerability, and I will continue on past 10, and I'll just do another 10 to 20, and then I'll let y'all know how I feel then. So please share, watch, pay attention. And you can see in the description, if you're here already watching this, there's a description on the other places that you can find me. You can find more information about the reframe, and you can also find more information about Fidelity National Title. So with that, I'll close up today, and thank you all for watching and or listening.